Attention!
This is a bumper, so I've already heard this twice tonight. But we wanted to...
Well, there was also the 50 warm-ups I do to get the right inflection and tone.
That's right.
Like, I spend an hour before we record just going, attention!
He does it till he bleeds out of his throat. But so today we're doing a very special Popcorn Kernels thing. We are dropping an episode. As you know, Popcorn Kernels goes on the Funbearable feed. It goes in the Reviewing History feed, back and forth. Today, double drop, baby. One on the Reviewing History feed, one on the Funbearable feed. So go check out Reviewing History and subscribe if you haven't. They're on YouTube. They're on every podcast platform. Wherever you go. And you're going to get a double dose of the Kernels today. Enjoy this. And then go check out our talk about Captain America: Brave New World on the Reviewing History feed.
Yep, so plenty of popcorn to go around.
So much kernels.
So oily and greasy. Hey. I tell a story on the Reviewing History one that will shake you to your core.
With oil and grease.
Yes.
For sure.
Attention!
I always forget. How do I always forget?
It gets you every time. I love it. It's such a cheap pop.
Someone put it on something recently on one of the Funbearable things. Yeah, they said it. It was funny. I was filming Tuesdays with Stories today with Mark Norman and Joe List, and they just keep bringing you up all the time. And I love that Joe is like, it's like, oh, it's cool to have a movie podcast together. But yeah, they were being funny about it today, and I mentioned it again.
Popcorn kernels.
Oh yeah, this I was like, why did I bring this up? Here's why. Because I go like this. I go like, check out Funbearable, and I mentioned popcorn kernels because they were talking about you in the episode.
Yeah.
And they were, they kept doing the jokes that they're doing, and at the end, I was like, and me and Brian Ruppert, and they both stopped and they went like this. They went, Brian Ruppert, and I'm like, yeah. They go, his first name isn't Rupert, and I'm like, no, and they're like, oh. I thought his first name was Rupert. Like this changes everything. And they were like, it was really funny. It was really funny. Yeah. But I was like, oh yeah, why would they know? Makes sense.
They just know me as Rupert.
Yeah, exactly. All right, buddy. So we haven't done this in a little bit, and we're doing this because we saw 4 movies. Well, we're gonna see how it goes.
Yeah.
We saw a bunch of movies.
Yeah, we saw a lot.
Came out. We saw a lot. So,
well, first I have something for you.
Okay.
A listener sent this in, and it's a song about Joker 2. And he emailed this to Reviewing History. I've been waiting to send this to you since November.
Okay.
Hey, Popcorn Kernel. Slight lyric changes. Still pretty brutal. Last email for a while. I call it Joker 2, since this is probably the... Joker 2 Mondu, since this is probably the reaction. And it's a song about Joker 2, which I have not heard.
Okay. Just because I'm paranoid, I'm going to check your camera.
Okay.
Think it's really heinous when we ream out your sweet anus. I sure hope you don't blame us. It's not like I give a fuck, but you've had the real bad luck to do time in the hands-down rapiest prison in town. The guards here love to rape, it's true, and we're all completely on the take. I sure am. Me too. Heck, Mr. Fleck, you've got to turn that frown right upside down. You're supposed to be a clown. Yes, we're gonna ream out your sweet ass. You'd probably like to say I'll pass. Hey, don't give me no sass. Funny man, make me laugh. You know I'm gonna tap that ass. You just wait and see. I'm gonna make you eat Big T. I know it's hard to take, but when you came into this prison, you knew that you'd get raped. And how? Okay, we're gonna do this now. Wow, fuck you till you love me. Wow. Okay, we're gonna pull a train. You really flushed your life right down the drain. Anyway, you better not complain. There's nothing worse that I disdain. I'll take my cock, you should stain. You'll probably feel a little pain. I'm just saying we're a lot. We're all gonna take our shot and really take our time, cause it's gonna be real fine for us to bust a nut in your tight butt. Pucker up. Better tell your ass to rest in peace. This ain't never gonna cease. Every morning you'll shit a pint of blood. Get used to it, bud, cause I'll never lube you up, not once, dunce. And if you're hoping for a reach around, get the fuck right out of town. Hey, we're none of us your chum. You're gonna drink gallons of our cum. Yes, you're really gonna wish you kept out of this place when we start to fuck your face.
Oh my God.
You won't think that it's a gas.
It's almost
But I
done.
shove my cock deep in your ass.
Wow.
Let's do this. Consider it done. Everyone line up and get some.
Wow, that is an offensive Joker song. So did he make this with AI?
Yeah, I think it's an AI song.
Wow. It's content aside.
Oh, I thought the content was brilliant.
I feel like I'm shocked with the AI stuff and I don't understand how they're doing it. I don't get it. Like, that's crazy to me.
It's weird.
It makes me want to be able to understand how to do it. That was a lot of
Rape.
yeah, it really was. Wow. That's quite a song. So who don't know who this is?
Seth Armstrong. He's a Reviewing History listener.
Wow. That's yeah.
So thank you, Seth. I know you probably were waiting on pins and needles to hear it.
Did he put in the lyrics or do you think he had the AI write
So
the
I've
lyrics?
wrote some AI songs. You can write lyrics or you can generate them. I'm willing to bet he probably wrote these ones.
Well, there's a lot of rhymes.
Yeah,
There's a lot of rhymes.
I don't know if AI, will give you as rapey lyrics talking about gallons of cum.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. That's a pretty kooky song, my friend.
Yeah.
I think that it's so hard for me to think of it from a perspective of someone who writes music. The idea of like the horn stuff and like it's just I'm shocked by this kind of
Like
stuff.
how AI does it.
Yes, how they put together songs. Like I'd love to yeah, I gotta get
There's
into
definitely
it.
something where it's like songwriting theory.
Yes.
Where the machine knows when to do certain things based on musical theory.
Yeah.
And like what sounds to use based on the type of music.
Yeah.
Like I've played around. Like I'm working on a long form project with AI music that I'm playing around with, and like I've wrote a bunch of lyrics, and like I have to test the different song types and like how I want it to sound and play around with it.
There's a huge Instagram account called Obscurest Vinyl, and they do AI songs. They did the one that says, I glued my balls to my butthole again. Have you heard that?
I think I've heard that. Yeah, I like Obscurest Vinyl. They're good.
So that guy is from Rhode Island, and he knows me. I didn't know that. He reached out to me, and he was like, hey, man. He's like, do you remember me? And he was from a band. Great guy. And I was like, would you want to work with Funbearable? And he's like, hell yeah. And I'm hoping we can because like right now, just to kind of put it out there, Funbearable has a song by Tally Hall as our open, and I really do like it a lot.
I love your theme.
I really like it too. But we get flagged on YouTube every single time we put up
Copyright,
an every.
yep.
So that sucks. Even though the band gave us permission,
Yeah,
it's like they don't really
the record label and the algorithm. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the distribution. So we're kind of thinking about possibly writing a theme song with that guy. And hopefully doing it in the future. But, man, I can't believe what it's capable of.
It's nuts.
The lyrics aside, the music is beautiful.
Oh, I thought the lyrics were beautiful too. They touched me.
Yeah.
As a Joker 2 rape believer, they spoke to me.
I think he was just sad.
Yeah.
I think his friend died in the next room, and then he was just
He's a
sad.
sad clown,
I don't
yeah.
think it happened. That's great. Well, thank you for the write-in. Please get some help.
Oh, the Reviewing History listeners are nuts, man.
Really?
They're all. I love them. They're all fucking nuts.
That's funny. I like
Yeah.
that. You guys ever do? You guys ever do write-in episodes or email episodes?
Oh, every pick episode opens where we read emails.
How many?
However many there are. So
Right.
it backs up for like a month.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2 depending on the schedule.
Yeah.
And then I read all the emails. So the last one, I did like an hour and a half of emails almost.
Oh, I
before-
gotta listen to that.
Yeah, before like every pick episode, you don't need any knowledge. They're really like hangout episodes.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'll do that because like I usually kind of look at like the movies because there's a bunch of movies I have seen.
Yeah.
A lot of them I haven't, and so I'll listen to all the ones that I'm like, all right, I know what this is. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean you haven't seen Aguirre, the Spanish conquistador movie, or Alatriste, the Spanish musketeer?
Yeah, exactly. You get some big mainstream movies you haven't done yet.
There's some we're saving.
Yeah, I would think.
Like our white whale as a guest is Colin Quinn.
Oh.
Like Well, it probably never happened.
You might be able to get them. You probably have to go to the city.
Oh, I think for that, I could probably get those guys to take off work even. Because Steve and Ant, like, idolize Colin Quinn. So Steve, like, is like, I want to do Goodfellas with Colin Quinn. That's like his, like, white whale one day.
Yeah. That'd be great.
I don't think it'll ever happen, but I would love it.
Quinn rules. So we watched a bunch of movies.
Yes. We saw these together, right?
I think so. We saw Hard Eyes together. We saw Companion together.
Yeah, well, we had a Valentine's Day pre-date.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were lonely. We wanted to cuddle. I did out you on Tuesdays with something today.
Oh boy, what?
I feel bad. I told them about your popcorn habits.
Oh, I'm open about it.
Oh, good. All right. Rupert has quite a popcorn order. It's a little kooky. Then the third one, Monkey. We did see that together.
Yeah, we did.
All right. So let's just dive in.
Yeah.
What do we? So
let's start with Hard Eyes. I think that's the first one we saw together, right?
Yes. I think would you be all right with doing Companion third?
Yeah.
Okay. Hard Eyes. Let's do it.
All right, and we're gonna do non-spoilers and then spoilers, right?
Yeah. So if you haven't seen these movies, we'll warn you before we get into spoilers. We're gonna review all three with non-spoilers, then we'll get into spoilers.
Yeah.
I'd say Hard Eyes, my non-spoiler review is, I think that this movie was created by a person or a team that was like, what if we made a rom-com that was also a slasher and put it out around Valentine's Day and made it like a thing? Which, by the way, we didn't talk about this. I find that concept to be so similar to Thanksgiving by Eli Roth. Obviously, Eli Roth came up with the fake trailer for Grindhouse.
Yeah.
But the idea of, like, let's do a tongue-in-cheek horror movie based around a non-scary holiday, it feels very similar. Do you think that?
Oh, for sure. And I think it's like, when you look at, like, the first slasher craze, right? You always had slasher movies tied to different holidays, right? So you had, like, April Fool's Day, Mother's Day. So it's like, you would just tie it to different holidays as like a cheap cash grab, almost New Year's Evil, like things like that. So to me, it's like, I feel like we're in like a slasher renaissance.
Okay.
And it's like, because we had the 90s where they kind of came back and then they died again, and they're back right now. And it's like, now we're starting to see all these holiday ones.
Yeah. And I thought it was very similar. And I'm just going to say, I loved Thanksgiving. I thought Thanksgiving was awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
I thought, in terms of being kind of a tongue-in-cheek, very Scream-inspired Thanksgiving-based horror movie, I couldn't have asked for more, I think. And Hard Eyes left me with sad eyes. I thought it was so... I feel so bad because I hope no one behind the scenes really thought it was going to be great. It doesn't seem like it. It seems like they just came up with a concept and didn't do much with it.
And I think it is fun to watch the one time.
Yeah. I would probably say I was into it for the first 75%, and something happens that I'm like, wait, what? And then the rest of it, I'm like, oh my God. But I was really bummed out because when I realized what they were doing, which is rom-com slasher, rom-com hyphen slasher, I thought that was a cool idea. But then, as it was playing out, I was like, man, there's not much going on. They're not doing too much with these ideas. And then the conclusion felt to me, which we're not going to get into right now, it felt
hollow.
It felt like they were like, yeah, whatever. That's how the ending felt to me.
We have to do this, and I agree. I think that's where it really falls apart, is that reveal of the killer and the third act, and I think that's where the movie is its weakest. But it has a lot going for it. I love the design of Hard Eyes the Killer. And I think the interesting thing is the movie speaks to another trend happening in horror movies, where it's like, let's take an existing IP or genre and we'll add a slasher to it. So we saw It's a Wonderful Knife, which was a play on It's a Wonderful Life. There's Happy Death Day, which is Groundhog Day, but slasher.
Yeah.
There's a Back to the Future slasher. Yeah. And that's like kind of the current flavor as well. So this was Valentine's Day, rom-com, slasher.
And I agree with you. I think The Mask was great. I really like the fact that The Mask has the eyes that light up. I think it's really cool. And I think that the design of a killer or a mask or whatever is important. I think Halloween can kind of show us how awesome one of those designs can be and how it can really be like a thing that persists through time. And the mask is great. I was just, the story was another thing to talk about. So I walked away from that movie feeling like me and you going with our free AMC passes and having a fun afternoon and talking about movies.
Yeah.
Great. But like, oh, that movie felt like a missed opportunity to me.
Let me ask you a question. You're not seeing it with me. First time you're seeing it, you and your girl, you throw it on. It's Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Is it that bad of a watch?
We'll have fun too, because me
Yeah,
and her
that's
will
what I
joke
mean.
around. But here's the thing, like we saw The Substance together. It's just a totally different experience when
think
something is great.
I think it's like comparing like filet mignon, which is the substance, to like a double cheese. And I know I'm fat. I always go for the fucking food analogy, but like Hard Eyes is like a McDouble. You know,
Yeah.
And they're different things.
Yeah,
They each have their purpose.
But Thanksgiving is different. Even Thanksgiving
Well,
was
that's like a quarter pounder.
You're getting the nuggets with that one. No, but Thanksgiving was really fun, and you're like, oh, this is so cool. They're figuring it out. And Hard Eyes was like, I was almost like bummed out at the end because I'm like, this could have been cool. It's kind of the same as when we watched, what's that Friday the 13th? Not, has a longer name than you'd think.
Oh, A Violent Nature.
A Violent Nature. Not as long as I thought. I was just like, this concept is wasted on this execution, is how I felt.
Yeah.
About Hard Eyes. And by the way, I like the people in it a lot. I would consider it to have about 4 main cast members, and I like all of them.
The casting is good. There's so much to like. And I really think other than the third act reveals, that's when the whole movie crumbles. And I think everything before then is pretty well done. Speaking of It's a Wonderful Knife, one of the writers on this, Michael Kennedy, he also did Freak with Vince Vaughn and
I didn't see that one. I want to watch that one.
That's a fun watch.
I would
Freaky
watch
Friday, but slasher. He did It's a Wonderful Knife. I think
wow.
he wrote and he may have directed it.
Wow, that's really interesting. So I don't know, man. I had sad feelings walking away. Again, it's one of those things it's just me personally where I'm just like, I just see the potential of these concepts and it bums me out when they don't get to their potential.
Yeah, I view things like a bell curve where I'm like, most things are probably going to be pretty okay, you know?
Yeah, I hear you.
And-
I liked the way I like to do it is kind of like, I guess I think about the fact that my analogy for this is always Michael Bay's Transformers, which is I'm sorry, I'm just adjusting my microphone, which is a movie that to me, I don't really like. I don't really have any affection for the Transformers, and I think the movies are not really very good. However, when I see like a Transformers, I'm like, man, these visuals are crazy. The scope of this fight is crazy. And I always walk away kind of focusing on the positives. And for me, Hard Eyes specifically, it's hard to find the positives because I think it's so based on how the project ties up overall in terms of the idea of combining these two genres. So it's hard for me to see the positives.
I hear you. I mean, I think the production itself was well done. Like,
yeah, it was fine.
Like, it looks good. I think the gore was well done. The effects were good.
Sure. I hear you. Yeah.
Like the technical aspects.
Yeah, I think the technical aspects were good. But yeah, so that was my non-spoiler Hard Eyes thoughts.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if you have anything to add.
Nothing really until we could talk about the third act.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to The Monkey.
Monkey. Okay.
Now, I'm going to admit a shameful secret here. It makes me sick to my stomach to admit this. I hate honestly, if you want to take away my rank as a popcorn kernel,
I would never.
I would understand.
Trust me, because I think I know what you're going to say, and you're not alone. So
I thought it was really fun, and I was just exhausted, and I fell asleep for like 10 minutes during it, which I am so sorry. I feel bad. I want to throw myself on the mercy of the court. I'm a piece of shit. I can't handle the truth. I really feel bad. I never fall asleep during movies.
as I've gotten older and like I'm like stretching myself so thin, even trying to see a movie. I've I've fallen asleep in movies with you before. I think I slept through like all of Furiosa.
Yeah, you did, and you fell asleep during something else too. But it was a shorter sleep.
Yeah, Furiosa, I was like out the entire movie.
Have you ever watched it again?
I need to though. I have to give it a second chance.
I think you'll like it.
I was just so fucking tired.
I think that's what happened to me. I mean, we were, it was a double feature. No, it wasn't a double feature day.
No, that wasn't.
You know what it was? It was a last minute thing.
It was like 9:30 at night.
Yeah, it was a last minute thing where you were like, you want to go, and I had a ton of shit. But yeah, so anyway, I feel really bad that I fell asleep. I loved the tone of the movie. It's the same director as the movie Longlegs, which I really liked a lot. I thought of Longlegs as like a DIY punk rock Silence of the Lambs. And I think they did a lot of tricks in that movie that really worked. Monkey, same director, Osgood Perkins. Short story by Stephen King. I think produced by Jordan Peele, perhaps.
Yeah, I think he may have, yeah.
I really thought that just the tone was fucking awesome. I haven't seen a horror movie like that in a long time. I think it was more reminiscent of Final Destination than people are going to realize going in.
Oh, totally.
But a much more whimsically gory version of it.
It's funny.
It's funny. The lead rules. That guy's
Theo James?
This guy's his voice is awesome. Like when he was doing all that, because he narrates a lot of it, I was like, this guy could narrate anything. It felt like Daniel Stern in Wonder Years. Because I think Daniel Stern's in the Wonder Years being like, that was the summer that me and Winnie. I'm like, fuck yeah! Like it feels like it's me. It feels like for some reason, like when I read my own journals from when I was like a little kid, I feel Daniel Stern's voice. This guy to me hit that level. I loved the way it was shot. I really enjoyed everything about it, which is why I'm so disgusted with myself. Like, if we had a third popcorn kernel, let's say that there's a third seat and it's me falling asleep. I'm ripping this guy's, I'm ripping his thing off like his.
Like Bugs Bunny?
Yeah. I'm ripping those apart. I'm slapping him across the, I'm making him sit in a dog cage. I'm shitting on his head. I'm pissing in his mouth. That's what I deserve. So I'm just saying, I'll take it.
No, you're fine. It happens, man. We're old, man. We're old men.
But I loved everything about it that I saw.
I think,
besides the 10 minutes, it's only 10 minutes too, but still, I feel terrible.
Do you remember what part? Like where in the movie?
That's the thing is like there's a missing piece from when they're in the hotel at the end of the hotel part until they're in like I don't know.
Where they're in like a warehouse area?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, without spoiling?
Yeah, without spoiling. So, but I loved everything. I loved the design of the monkey. I thought all the actors in the movie played their roles so well. I loved the gore. I loved the way they came at the gore. I loved the concept behind it. Even that ending that when we saw it in theaters, we were like, that's a little weird. I really appreciated it more after I walked away.
Well, you
sent me that article.
So that was the thing. So it's like, we'll talk more about it in spoilers, but like what the movie is actually about, I think is awesome.
Me too.
And when you tie it into the director and you look into history and you're like, okay, like this confirms a lot of what I thought, and like that's what the movie is really about. I love that. I think it's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think that monkey is like going to be a horror icon.
I hope so.
Like I keep seeing the popcorn bucket at AMC, and I'm like, should I get it?
I know it's too cool.
They're selling in the Reviewing History Discord on Reviewing History's Patreon. Someone they're making a full size replica prop that drums. And I think it was like $150 or $200.
Wow.
And I was like, I fucking want it. I can't spend money on that, but like, it's like I have a kid.
Yeah, I know.
Go to my wife. Groceries, maybe we could, last on scraps for a week. Yeah. I needed a fucking monkey replica.
Oh, man, that's tough. I feel the same way. I feel drawn to stuff like that all the time. But yeah, no, I was really, really impressed.
Well done movie. Very well directed. Dark and cynical and funny.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Should we move on to Companion for spoiler free? I didn't know anything about Companion. This is another situation where Rupert's like, hey man, there's a movie. Do you want to go see it with me? And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. And so we went to go see Companion, and I thought it was awesome. I loved the way it was made. Super small budget. It's weird. We saw Hard Eyes and Companion back to back.
It was like two romance horror movies.
Yeah. And I'm glad we saw them in the order we did.
I think so.
And watching it, it felt like the budget was identical to Hard Eyes in terms of like variety of locations and different stuff.
It's almost one location.
It really is. And they just really told this story in a way that I thought was really well paced. You're getting the right reveals at the right time. You're getting all the information at the right time. And it was just fucking cool. It was just fun.
The other thing I like about it is like when you figure out what's happening in the movie pretty quickly, you look at one cast member and you're like, oh, he's got to be one of those things, right? There's no way. And the movie doesn't like tell you right away. It lets you sit there with it, and then it confirms your obvious suspicion later on. And you're like, of course, that's what it had to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're looking at that situation without spoilers.
Oh, it's so good.
And
I loved it.
It's really well done, and it's a really fun watch. It's compelling, and it doesn't go where you think it's going to go. Like, even by trailers, like, because the trailer, I had seen one trailer, and they don't tell you really much about it, but the trailer has Sophie Thatcher, the main actress, holding her hand over a candle, and she's burning herself in pain, and she can't scream, and Jack Quaid is across the table, like, being a douche in the trailer.
Yeah.
And that's almost the whole trailer, but you don't know why or what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. There's probably similar elements in the Hereditary trailer that kind of give away some stuff a little bit. I don't remember, but like maybe the mom like banging her head against the wall or something.
It showed that. It definitely didn't show, her putting her head out the window.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course. But yeah, so I really, really enjoyed it. I loved, if you like movies that are really limited production, where they're kind of forced to be, I feel like the more limited your production is, the more you're not allowed to hide your story. The more you're not allowed to trick the audience, and the more the movie has to exist on the merits of the story. And this movie, I was like, this is just a great little parable that's fucking killer.
Yeah, I think it's a story, too, that, like, I think it's a little ahead of its time in some ways, but it's also very of the time, and like you can tell this story anytime.
I agree, 100%.
It's a really well done.
It's great.
Like movie with good characters that you understand and you sympathize with that maybe you shouldn't when you kind of think of it a little deeper.
Of course,
but like
it's great. I really, really enjoyed it. I think everyone did a great job. I really, really liked it a lot. I can't recommend it enough. So should we go right into spoilers? I mean, I think that's where the meat of this is going to be.
Yeah.
Hard eyes, spoilers.
All right.
So the movie it really feels like Scream in terms of a whodunit, because most slashers are not a whodunit. The famous slashers, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play.
Well, the first Friday the 13th is a slasher.
It's a whodunit.
It's a whodunit, sorry.
And I think the first Child's Play is a whodunit. Because
really?
I think that you're supposed to not know if Andy is
crazy or not.
Yeah, I read an article one time that's like the Child's Play poster that they used for the VHS release. It has Chucky's eyes at the top, and like the movie is made for you to not know if Chucky's alive or if whatever. Which I don't know. I'd have to actually go back and watch like when they reveal some stuff, because it's like, I don't know.
Well, what I like about that movie is it, especially like I obviously wasn't intended for kids, but I saw it at a young age, and what it kind of is in a way, that first Child's Play movie, is every little kid has the fear that no one will believe you when you're saying something.
Oh yeah,
and that's like a big part of like why it's scary as a kid, because he's telling everybody Chucky's alive and nobody's believing him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. That's really funny. I know it's true. I think we talked about it on Funbearable when we did the Child's Play franchise flashback a little bit, just in terms of like, what is it saying about that? You know what I mean? No, I agree. And then it's funny, like, just real quick, another movie that is like, it's a spoiler what the thing is, not a spoiler, it's a surprise, is The Predator. Like, everyone knows what The Predator is, but in the first Predator movie, it's so strange to me that you think it's a man the whole time, and at the end you find out it's a kooky alien, and you're like, what the vagina mouth, the teeth, and like, it's a really strange thing in retrospect. But anyway, this movie is a whodunit, which immediately kind of puts me in the world of Scream, because it's really the only slasher series that depends on that.
Thanksgiving.
Well, that's the thing, is I think Thanksgiving is also reminiscent of Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, I like that. No, but I think Thanksgiving is another movie that's very influenced by Scream. This movie was, but what the problem is with this movie is that the cast is so small that you're like, what the? Who is this gonna be? It's like the movie is a guy and a girl. It's a meet cute, that story, that thing, and it's essentially like she has a boss that's barely in it, and she has a friend that's barely in it.
Yep. And the premise is Hard Eyes will find
Valentine's Day couples
around the country, could be anywhere.
Yeah.
And will go and hunt down and kill couples that are together on Valentine's Day.
Exactly. And so you're kind of like, obviously going in, you know that Hard Eyes is going to be part of the fucking story. But like when that becomes a thing, there's almost no one to point to. You know what I mean? And you're kind of like, who could this possibly be? Like, that's how I felt anyway. And
where it's gonna be emotionally, it's gonna pay off emotionally.
Exactly.
Which is like, that's like, I love Friday the 13th, is my favorite slasher franchise. But that first movie, the reveal sucks. Because you have absolutely no context to know who Mrs. Voorhees is or why you should give a fuck about her.
I completely agree.
The only reason it works is in hindsight with the other movies.
Yeah.
Because you watch...
I'm going to adjust my camera. Keep going.
You watch fucking... You watch Friday the 13th and you're like, why is this old lady here yelling at them? This is weird. And she's like, my son Jason died in the lake 30 years ago. You know, you heard about it in one sentence and now I'm here to kill you. And it's like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, that it always leaves me hollow every time I watch it.
I completely agree. I always thought it was very weird. And it was almost like, to me, it's like, well, I guess I got to watch the first one in terms of Friday the 13th. But I kind of felt the same way where I'm like, this is dumb. Scream really builds it well in terms of like the whodunit and the reasoning. This movie, it just gives you no options. And I think one of the things that was kind of creeping up on me during the movie was me being like, there's no one impactful that could possibly be doing this. So I was kind of feeling like at the end of this movie, I don't think we're going to get a reveal that is impactful in any way. So I think that I was like, what could this possibly be? And the reveal was really dumb.
I was coming up with big theories in my head.
Like what?
Like I had one theory where it was like, because they mentioned that Mason Gooding, the male lead, right? That he's supposed to go fly out to like a wedding the next day. Mm-hmm. And I had a thing where it was like his buddy pretends to be Heart Eyes every year, like around the country, like his group of friends. Like it was going to be like almost a conspiracy where they go and they pose as Heart Eyes and they kind of almost force these couples to have meet cutes.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they're playing Cupid, getting these couples together. And his friend was being Hard Eyes now for him, and he had been a previous Hard Eyes, and it was trying to get him and the girl to fall closer in love with the trauma thing.
See, like that's not bad.
And I wasn't sure, obviously I haven't wrote it down or worked out kinks, but I was coming up with big conspiracies as to why this could be impactful or mean something.
I see that. I can see something like that and seeing that make sense, which is way better than what actually happened. And what actually happened, I mean, they do the meet cute thing. Hard Eyes shows up. Really weird. The two cops in the movie that are kind of investigating.
This is funny.
It's Devin Sawa, who was killer. He's great. And the woman who plays the wife of Paul Walker.
Was that Jordana Brewster?
I think so, in Fast and Furious.
Yeah, I think that's her name.
And it's weird. They made a Fast and Furious joke in the movie to her directly.
Well, the characters are named Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, the characters are named Hobbs and Shaw. And so one of the leads, the girl, says, your names are Hobbs and Shaw. And they're like, yeah. And she says, like the movie or something, like Fast and Furious or something. And they're like, what? And they don't know what it is, even though she's from Fast and Furious. I'm like, that hurts the joke to me. It makes it weirder.
It is. Like, you know, they wrote that, then they cast her, and they're like, should we get rid of this? And they're like, nah,
they probably like, no, it's probably funnier. It's not. It's worse. But whatever. So I'm just gonna go to the conclusion. Yeah. So the main girl that is part of the couple is in the police station, and an IT guy comes up to her that's working on the computers, and he's like, hey. And she's like, hey. And he goes, you know, it's Valentine's Day. I'm just going to shoot my shot. Would you like to go out sometime? And she's like, no, I'm in the police station or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, sorry about that. And he leaves. And you're like, that was weird.
And at that moment, too, I was like, oh, maybe it's like an incel guy.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he's mad about couples in love or something.
And so what happens is we get to the conclusion of the movie. And by the way, along the way, at the drive-in, they get attacked by Hard Eyes and they kill him. And they do like this over-the-top gory death scene. And then they go to take off his mask and they go, who's that? Oh, it's nobody. Okay. And they just continue on.
And then the movie continues.
I was like, this sucks. I'm like, what is this?
Did they say who that was again?
Yeah, they say at the end.
I'm trying to remember. I forgot.
So basically, they get to the ending. It's in a church. The whole ending is, to me, like, ridiculous.
Well, didn't they kidnap?
So they kidnap the guy.
Yeah.
The girl walks into a church because they do a fake out ending of, he says, let's spend the night together, let's hang out or something. And she's like, no, whatever. And he goes to the airport to fly out the next day. She goes home. She calls her friend. She's like, well, the guy left, blah, blah. And the friend is like, you got to go find him. Honestly, like,
that's fun. They do like the rom-com thing.
She did a whole thing where, well, she did, I don't know if you remember, she did a speech, and in the speech was all the names of all the titles of rom-coms.
Yes.
And I liked that. This is Love Actually, blah, whatever. And she goes to the airport to find him. And I'm like, this is interesting, and I liked this. And then she gets a call, and it's the Hard Eyes guy, even though they killed him. And he goes, meet me at this church, come alone. And he's like, okay. So she goes to the church, the guy's tied up, and they reveal that it's the cop, Jordana Brewster.
Yes.
And the IT guy.
And it's a sexual kink for them.
And it's a sexual kink for them to kill couples. And she's like...
Because they're a couple.
And she goes, who was the Hard Eyes guy that we killed? And they're like, that was some random guy that we banged once. And I'm like, this sucks. Like, fuck this. I thought that sucked. I thought the fact that they used the IT guy that had one line in the movie, like not even that long ago, is insane.
Well, that's like a Mrs. Voorhees reveal. Like, you can't... yeah. There's nothing there, almost.
Exactly. And then, so they go like this. They go, here's the guy. And they have him on the guy's knees, like the love interest. And he's on his knees in front of IT guy and Jordana Brewster. And they go, there's a gun right next to you. And she has a gun. And he's like, pick up the gun. And the girl picks up the gun. And he says, there's one bullet in it. Either you kill yourself and we let him go, or you kill him so you can go free. And I'm like, you just gave your victim a gun with a bullet in it, and by the way, the love interest guy is right in front of the two killers.
Yeah.
So it's so clear that you would just shoot the killer, and so she's like, and she kills the killer, and she shoots the killer, and he's like, "Oh, you shot me!" Like,
who could have seen this coming?
I was like, "What do you mean? How? What?" So then, like, because there's like kind of like a fight. They all fight, and eventually the couple kills the two people, and the movie's just done, and that's it.
Well, then they're together, and it's like a year later, and the movie does like almost a fake out where it's like they're in a drive-thru and you're waiting for like another drive-in theater. Sorry, not drive-thru. See, I'm so fat. Fucking.
You're still thinking about a McDouble.
Yeah, but so you think that there's going to be like a reveal or something, and it's like no, they're just together and in love now, and everything is great.
And I was like, what the fuck? What is... I was so confused. I was so put off. I wanted to take my own life. I fucking hated it.
So I think the movie definitely has problems. I had fun watching it the one time. But I think what it does is it sets the groundwork for a really good sequel. Because what you could do now, and you have to go the Scream route, you have to go Copycats, but you have to put Hard Eyes in a different city, unconnected, and you could say he's inspired people, and like you need to find a different reason why there's a Hard Eyes. Like I would like the idea of like it's like setting it in a college, and it's like kind of two losery guys, and it's almost like they're trying to do it to hook each other up with these girls that they like. You know what I mean? Where it's like
I think I actually like that direction way more. I really like that direction a lot more than what they did. It sucks. I want to say like it sucks because I really agree with you that it's like. The mask was cool. The idea of making it a rom-com and a slasher is cool. And I think you could easily make a series that comes out every Valentine's Day or the week before Valentine's Day. Easy. So easy to do. And to me, what the story they told was so bad and dumb. I was just so disappointed in it, man.
But I think that's what's good about this one is like you can take that mask and it's been like a national news thing, so you can create a whole new thing around it, and like you could a new cast, and you could get a clean slate and use that awesome design which
Yeah.
everybody loves it, and do something good and come up with a new angle.
I hear you. I hope you're correct. I would if they redeem it with 2, I think that'd be awesome. But they would have to make a real hard left turn, I think, personally.
You need a better motivation for the killer.
Yeah, I think so. I really do think so.
You know, and like they didn't set up any supernatural shit, so there's no like Hard Eyes Jason. But like almost like make it like a Cupid saw or something. You know,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that maybe there's a way to do it, but man, oh man, was I bummed. Just because there's so much. There was so much that could have been done correctly.
A lot was left on the table.
Oh, for sure. And like the idea of killing off a random guy 3/4 of the way through is like, what the fuck?
What would you have thought if it's a random guy? She goes to the airport. She gets him off the plane, and the movie ends there. And there's not like that extra third act fight where it's like, oh, the killer was just a random guy, and like
I would hate it. I would hate that.
Would you hate that more or less? I think I might like that more.
I might,
because that feels like almost more real. You know, where it's like, no one really knows why this guy was doing this.
It feels more real, but it also feels a little bit.
It's definitely anticlimactic.
For sure, man.
I think I might prefer it though.
I don't know. If she just got to him on the plane and they had a typical rom-com ending, I think I'd be still like, what was this about? Like, what?
Why?
Why did I watch this? Yeah. So I don't know. But I like your idea of like, could it be saved with part 2? I wish it could.
It has potential.
It has potential. I agree. All right, so should we talk about Monkey? I thought it was great. I mean, the idea that it's such a Stephen King idea that you wind it up and then whenever it starts to drum, because it doesn't drum right away. Whenever it starts to drum,
it chooses when it wants to.
It chooses when it wants to, and then people just die around it from different random things that happen. Freak accidents. It's really cool. Like I said, I love that lead. I think he really carried the movie in such a big way. Monkey looks fucking awesome.
Well, I love like Theo James. Like he kills it in like the dork role, like the dorky father.
Yeah.
But you could tell he's having so much fun as the crazy brother, and he's wearing a suit like 3 sizes too small.
Yeah.
And it's not like a dress.
No.
But he's batshit crazy, and he's killing it in that part as the brother.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was. Everything was great. I really, really enjoyed it. Everything felt heightened. Everything kind of felt like a weird reality, which is really fun, especially when you're going to go whimsical gore. And yeah, it was way more like Final Destination than I expected.
Oh, I wasn't ready for that. Yeah. Which has a new one coming out, by the way.
I know, which is interesting because Final Destination 5 really wraps it up. You know the ending of it, right?
Oh, yeah, where it's actually...
a time loop?
Yeah.
Insane. I'm like, I don't know if I want them to mess with that. It's too good. Even though, like, I don't really care about the Final Destination sequels or anything. It's not a series that's close to my heart.
See, I think because I'm a little younger than you.
Yeah.
So, like the first one came out, I think I was, like, 13 or 12. So it was like, I saw all those, like, in high school as they were coming out. So it's like, you know.
I really loved 1 and 2 because 2 has the log truck, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I loved those 2. But then I was like, I don't know what's going on. I wasn't paying attention to the other ones. And then
3 is amazing.
Really?
3 is probably the best one.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe, when does Final Destination 6 come out?
I think May.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if it's a horror release in October, maybe we would do a franchise, you know. But that would be a good one to do. Maybe we can do one anyway. Who knows? But the franchise flashback episode of Funbearable, where we go through the entire back catalog of movies.
So,
there's only 5. It's pretty easy. But yeah. See, like I liked 1 and 2 a lot. I loved that ending of 5. But I'm excited to see 6. But I just do think it is wrapped up so good right now that it's like, oh, come on, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So this one.
Wait, I'm sorry. Do you know how they pitched 6? Do you know what they did?
No.
It's awesome. So they were on a. That's why I gotta tell this. So they were on a Zoom call with whoever had the rights, right?
Yeah.
So they're on a Zoom call.
Oh,
and they
I'm already picturing it. I hope if I'm right, that'd be crazy. But I'll tell you what I'm thinking right now.
They pre-planned a death, like a Final Destination style death, while they were on the Zoom call.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So they're talking like the executive, and like something's happening behind them, and it fucking kills them on the Zoom call.
Oh my god.
And like that's how they got it greenlit, apparently.
Oh my.
Isn't that fucking sick?
That is amazing. I love it.
How pumped are you for 6 now?
Now I'm excited. Now I trust the people making 6
Yeah.
because of that story. That has changed things for me. That is amazing. I love that. Oh, man. But yeah, so honestly, like, I just really love the tone of this. Again, I'm such a big fan of smaller budgets and just making a cool fucking thing with a real identity and a real story.
Yeah, and it feels like an original IP that, like, you could use again or tell a prequel about, like, what the monkey was doing in the 1920s, you know?
Sure.
Like how it ended up where it ended up. And you could do a lot with it, and it's fun and cool. And, like, you know, I would love to see the monkey again. I think it's a cool design.
I also think it's cool to see Osgood Perkins go from long legs, which I felt was pretty stark. Like it was pretty like...
It's dour.
Yeah, it's stark, right? Is that the right word? It's like kind of like a little bit... It's funny because it's not stoic, but it's like, it's a little dark and serious.
It's somber.
Very somber and kind of like frightening. And this movie was kind of like really fun and funny and scary. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh, that's a cool, very different direction for this guy. And I just thought it was great. I don't know. I was really, really satisfied with the type of movie. And again, I apologize. I'm down to private. I'm a popcorn private.
You're a colonel. You're a colonel.
I have to stay up through another movie, and then I'll be a colonel again. And then it was cool because me and you were just sitting there talking through the credits, and at the end of the credits, new trailer for another Osgood Perkins horror movie. Which looks like.
I thought that was a really cool thing to do. I thought that was such a flex for a director to be like,
fucking awesome.
Here's the trailer for my next movie.
Fucking awesome. I thought it was great. I thought that was really, really cool. But yeah, I don't think I could have been more pleased with it.
And I do want to talk about this. So at the end of the movie, after they've spun the monkey wheel and, like, you know, it's caused a bunch of mayhem. It's killed who knows how many people. They're driving down a road, the father and the son, and they come across Death from the apocalypse on a pale horse. And they look at Death, and Death looks at them, and they nod at each other and, like, acknowledgement. And Death goes on its way, and they go on their way. And you're like, that's so out of nowhere. That's weird. They set it up a bit, but it's still weird to see.
Yeah.
So after I was, like, confounded by that, I kept thinking about it. I was like, I got to look more into the movie. So I went on Wikipedia, and I was reading all articles about Osgood Perkins. And he said the movie is really about the acceptance of death and how weird deaths can just occur and they can't be planned for, and learning to accept and find the joy in life in spite of death. And he spoke about how his father was Anthony Perkins from Psycho, who got HIV from a blood transfusion and it caused him to die. And his mother she was an actress, but she was a passenger on one of the 9/11 flights, and she died like that.
That's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
Insane.
But it does open me up to kind of what the movie is trying to say.
Yeah.
And I got, it's weird because at the end of the movie I was like, oh, cool. And I like I said, I missed 10 minutes, so I want to watch it again. But I was kind of like, oh, this is cool. But I was a little bit like, oh, I wonder what they mean by this with the guy and the thing, the cheerleader bus. And then when you sent me that article, I'm like, that's really fucking cool, man. It's such a cool take. It's such a smart thing.
It's more personal than you would think, which I love. I love when it's like a personal story. Like, you could watch that movie and just take it as like a weird, funny thing. Mm-hmm. And then, like, or you could look into it and be like, oh, this is actually saying something. And it's about his personal experiences. And it's actually his worldview.
Exactly.
You get Osgood Perkins' worldview when you watch that, which I love.
Exactly. No, it was, I really, really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was great. And I'm really excited I'm excited for like a new director who's making cool stuff like this. And if you see the movie, there's a part where the kids, the main character, as a kid, and his twin brother go to live with their uncle, and the uncle is played by Osgood Perkins.
Yeah, it's like a one-scene cameo or something.
Very, very cool.
He's such like a hipster-looking guy, you know? Like,
I think he was trying to play like an 80s weird uncle.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. But yeah, for sure.
Like, that was the first time I've ever seen him, so I don't know what he normally looks like. But in my head, that's Osgood Perkins now. Like, I picture him on set, giant sunglasses, mustache.
I pictured him as a cool black guy, but he's not.
Oh, really? You thought he was a black dude?
Yeah, I don't know why. I thought he was like a cool, like really like visionary director guy making like DIY, low budget, really sick horror movies. I don't know why I thought that, but that's what I thought.
See, I knew his I knew his father was Anthony Perkins from
That's
Psycho
true, yeah.
from the first one.
I didn't know that
from
until
Long Legs.
you...
I didn't know about the HIV thing. Though.
Yeah. No, I didn't know anything about that. All right, so should we cover Companion?
Yes, I just want to pull up who the director is so we can shout them out because I don't know their name.
I don't know either. Do you think they did anything else, or do you think we would have known that they did something else?
I don't know. Drew Hancock. That name is actually very familiar.
Yeah, it does seem kind of familiar, actually.
Um,
But yeah, like I said, I thought Companion, like I didn't know about it. It was one of those things where people are like, it's better to not know, which I always appreciate. And I went in, I hadn't seen a trailer. So what happens is this guy and this girl are together and they're in a couple and it shows them meet and everything at a grocery store. And then they go to this like lake house with a friend. And I was really having I got to be honest, in the theater when me and you were sitting there and watching it, when it was showing them meet and showing them together and showing them in bed. And she's like, and she's trying to talk to me. He goes, what's her name? Do you remember her name?
Beep Boop.
Yeah, I know. That's the pet name.
I know the actress's name, Sophie Thatcher.
Yeah, let's pretend it's Sophie. He goes, Sophie, go to sleep or something like that. And then the lights go off or whatever. I was like, this is really interesting. What are they trying to do here? And then it shows her. Iris, that's right. It shows her go down to the beach with a guy, and then she comes back to this beach house with her and her boyfriend and their friends, and she's covered in blood, and it has the flashback of what happened. I was like, oh, this is so weird. I'm like, where is this going to go? And they're having this big heated argument. And finally the main guy goes, Sophie, go to sleep. Or Iris, go to sleep. And her eyes glaze over. I'm like, oh, man, like, what is this going to be? And by the way, let's pause this here to talk about the idea we had for Popcorn Kernels.
Okay.
I went out to lunch with our buddy Quinn from Impractical Jokers. And I was like, me and Rupert thought about doing this thing, and he's like, "Do it! That's fucking awesome." He's like, "Do it!" He's like, "That's really funny." And I'm like, it's so ballsy. We were gonna do a Popcorn Kernels just about Companion, and it was gonna be marketed as like, this is only for people who have seen it, spoilers the whole time. And at the beginning, we're like, yeah, it's about this movie about a guy with a companion that's a robot, and he can control her with voice commands. And as we're explaining it, we're kind of eyeing each other. And then at the same time, I go, Rupert, go to sleep. And he says, Chuck, go to sleep. And we both go, and our eyes both go white like the girl in the movie. And we wanted to just film each other. And
in real time.
And the next hour and a half of us just staying here completely still and edit back and forth. And maybe have Get 'em walk through and stuff like that. And just put it out as the new episode of Popcorn Kernels like that. Which I do think is funny.
I think it's fun.
I think it is funny. I have a problem. I appreciate like Andy Kaufman style stuff from afar, but I have a real problem with actually completing it myself.
I find it fun to talk about and theorize about, but doing it, I always feel like a little bad. Like imagine someone's like, "Oh man, I love Companion. Can't wait to see them talk about it," and they click it.
Yeah.
And it's like us like that for an hour. It's like, oh man.
I guess the right way to do it would have been to drop that and then like the next day drop an actual episode. But yeah, like how Andy Kaufman went on tour, a comedy tour, and he just read Great Expectations every night until the audience left.
Yeah.
Like I think about that all the time, and I'm like, I love the story. What if I was there? I don't think I'd like it.
It's one of those things because we did on Reviewing History, we did Man on the Mood. We had Jimmy the Hair Guy. And it's one of those things. It's funny when it's not happening to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Like people, have you ever seen this guy? He goes to like GameStops and he photoshops people's, like the clerk's face on a game. And he'll present it to them and be like, I'm trying to sell this game. And it's like Greg Craft.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And he's trying to sell them the game.
How does he do it? How does he get their face?
Well, I guess he walks in and like he takes a picture. He goes home, prints it out. Scans
That's fucking funny.
And he shows back up and he tries to sell them Greg Craft. And they're like, this is my face. And like he's fucking with people. And it's funny when it's not happening to you, but like when it is
innocent though. That seems pretty innocent.
It is, but like when it's like I'm a fat dumpy guy working at fucking GameStop for minimum wage, and I got this fucking jerk off taking pictures of me, putting me on game covers, trying to sell me something that I know isn't real. It would piss me off too.
You're fat and dumpy? Why is that part of this?
The guy was fat and dumpy too. It's not like a Brad Pitt working at GameStop, you know?
Could have been. What if he's working there for years? He's handsome. He loves it. He's making a lot of money.
No one working at GameStop for years is handsome.
Hey, I worked at GameStop, and that's true. For years. And it's just funny that you added all this other stuff.
Yeah.
He's fat and tubby, has erectile dysfunction. I'm like, wait a minute, what? But yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, so anyway, the movie, so after that, it's essentially kind of unraveling the fact that the boyfriend of Iris, played by Jack Quaid?
Jack Quaid, yeah.
The boyfriend of his, he planned all this to have that guy killed and blame it on her and get all of his money. That's essentially the concept.
Can I tell you what movie I think it's most like?
What is it?
Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's almost like a heist gone wrong.
Yeah, it is like that. And so then basically she realizes it, and she kind of escapes them, and you start realizing that other ones of them are companions. She is able to steal the thing that controls her, and she fixes her stuff, which I know you haven't watched Westworld, right? The TV show?
Oh, I watched the first 2 seasons.
Oh, you did?
Once they got to the real world, I watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then I was like, yeah, it sucks, I'm out.
I think Westworld season 1 by itself
It's amazing.
It's like, to me, it's my #1 favorite series of television, period.
I could totally see that. It was so much fun.
And then when it turned into like, well, now it's a Terminator show. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what? I wanted to see robots in the Old West getting murdered and fingered.
It's like if I understand you need to kind of leave the park at some point almost, but it's like you should have just went to like other parts of the island, you know? Like,
I liked the idea of them having the samurai world
oh, I thought that was so cool.
where they were repeating the storyline and they had the same bar scene as season 1.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Did you see the part where they had the Game of Thrones dragon?
I don't think I got to that.
So in Westworld, no joke, it's a double joke about Jurassic Park and Game of Thrones, where they're in the basement with all, like, you know how they have the glass and they have like a horse and all these people. There's a dragon from Game of Thrones in the basement of Westworld.
Maybe I do. I think I did see that.
And it's just down there, and they're like, what should we do with this? That's what someone says. And a guy goes, there's an island off the coast of Costa Rica that wants to buy it. And I'm like, what the fuck is this show right now? Like, it's so absolutely bizarre.
Did you finish the show?
No, I watched season 1 and season 2. And like, here's the thing, my buddy Lou and his wife Laura, they were like, they're like, I think they said season 3 is really bad and season 4 is incredible. And I'm like, I'm not gonna muscle through.
Yeah.
I can't
And then
muscle.
it gets canceled.
Exactly. So I can't do it. But anyway, the reason I bring it up is because a robot stealing the tablet and changing all her own attributes is so similar to what they do in Westworld.
Yeah.
But I loved it in this.
Did we say she's a robot?
I think so. I said that she says Iris, go to sleep, and it reveals that she's like a love robot. I think I even said it in the non-spoiler part because it is in the trailer too.
That she's a robot?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it's at least implied in the trailer.
I didn't pick up that she was a robot in the trailer.
Oh, really? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
It could be a different trailer. Who knows?
Yeah. But so it's essentially about her trying to figure out how to get out of this situation. And we know that he's the bad guy and the friends of his are bad guys. And we're kind of watching this play out.
Trying to like cover up the crime almost. And it's funny because you're rooting for an inanimate object. You know, it's like she's not a real person. You're almost rooting for like a vacuum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, one of my favorite things is at the end. I don't know if I think she shoots herself in the head. He commands her to do it, and she shoots herself in the head. And I was like, man, how are they going to get out of this? And I thought to myself in the theater, I was like, I don't know. I mean, she's a robot, so does that mean that like she's necessarily dead? Like that's not her brain. And then the company that owns the robots came to take her away. And he's like, yeah, the guy's like, yeah, so I don't know. She killed my friend. She killed herself. She's nuts. Anyway, see you later. And they're like, oh, well, we'll figure everything out by looking at the hard drives. And he's like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, the hard drives are stored kind of in her stomach. And so we'll be able to go through it and get the video. And I was like, fuck yeah. And I right there, I was like, this is awesome.
I thought that was awesome. And I love the next part where Jack Quaid goes away and they're like, oh, that guy totally did it. He's fucked. They know.
I loved that. I thought that was awesome too. I thought that was great.
And the other thing I like about the movie is they always pair, and sometimes they don't tell you until later, but they always pair a ridiculously good-looking person with someone where it's like, they're too good looking to be with that person.
Yeah,
It doesn't add up.
Yeah.
And like even the end of the movie, they kind of have one shot where it's like an older guy and he's with like a really hot blonde.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, she's probably a robot, right?
Yeah. And I loved when one of the robots kept revisiting the meet cute of him and the other person, and it kept switching who the person was because he kept falling in love with a different person. Because it's kind of like the movie AI.
Yeah, you could set the meet cute.
Yeah, you could set it. You could set it, and then you could kind of bond with the person by like doing a thing, like putting your hand behind their ear or whatever. It really took a lot from in terms of like the construct of the thing from AI in terms of like the bonding aspect.
I've never seen AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
Really? Is there a reason?
Just never did.
It's
Not like any stance. It's just,
I would love if you had a stance.
I'll be dead cold in the ground before I see Haley Joel Osment as a goddamn robot.
Dude, AI will fucking crush you. It will ruin your life. I'm just going to give you a little bit. So basically, it's like they have a son. It's a family that has a son that's like in a coma or something, right? And they're like, oh, should we get a replacement son? And the mom's like, I don't know. And the mom is like devastated, right? So they get the son, and it's Haley Joel Osment, and they have this scene where it's like, oh, you got to put your hand behind its finger or its ears and say this phrase. And you watch Haley Joel Osment like as a dead, like eyed robot, and she does it to him as he's looking at her, and him like falling in love with her and bonding with the mom is so effective. It's fucking awesome. What happens is like the son wakes up from the coma, the real son.
Oh shit.
And they're living back and they're both living there. And the son doesn't like the robot kid, and he's eating, and the robot's not supposed to eat. And the son is like eating, and he's like kind of showing it, and the robot kid starts doing it too, and he starts to malfunction. And the way that Haley Joel Osment's face droops when he's malfunctioning during that part will fucking haunt your dreams until the day you die. And then they do the trope, and I can tell you this because it's not nearly the end of the movie. First of all, he has a little teddy bear that's also a robot that talks and is friends with him. They do the trope of like, oh, we're gonna go out to the woods, and he gets out, and then they drive away, and Haley Joel Osment as like a 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid, like chasing after the car and trying to like cry and beg them to take him. Your dreams are haunted by the face, and then you wake up and you cry about the kid being left in the fucking thing. He becomes friends with Jude Law, who's like a pimp robot, who's like a
he's a robot too?
But he's like a gigolo.
Okay.
He just like bangs girls. And there's a whole like nightlife time where it's all like hooker robots that this kid goes to. It's insane.
Does he bang robots?
Do you care if I tell you the ending? I gotta
No,
tell you.
You can tell me. I don't care.
It's fucking bizarre. Haley, I'm gonna cry thinking about it. Hold on, I gotta take a sip. I can't. I've already lost my status as Colonel. Haley Joel Osment is just like obsessed with getting back to the mom because he's so bonded with her, and so that's his whole thing is he's trying to get back to her. And from what I remember, they're like, if you find the blue fairy, he reads like a book. I think it's either Cinderella or whatever. Actually, you'd think it would be Pinocchio probably. It's like if you find the blue fairy, she'll grant you a wish, right? And by the way, if I'm totally wrong about this, this is how I remember it. I think this is what happened. He's going to find this blue fairy, and it's like a statue. And I remember he goes back to the factory that made him, and it's like he's basically being hunted down by the people that made him and different police and whatever. I think that it's basically like a thing where like in the future, robots are like treated like slaves and whatever.
Okay.
They actually, when they go to that land of like all the hookers, there's like torture shows of people torturing robots and pulling them apart.
Someone, yeah.
So it's like almost like Roman Colosseum shit, but even more about torture. He goes to the factory. He gets this like underwater device. It takes a weird turn. He goes underwater to find this statue. For some reason, someone told him about the existence of this statue, right? He goes there and he just goes to it and he finds it. And it has the light in the thing. And he has it on there, and he's like, it's the blue fairy. And he like stays there looking at it, like hoping and wishing that the mom will come back. Centuries pass. civilization falls, and he's underwater looking at this thing, and it freezes, and it like the whole world like freezes. It's like a new ice age. It's so fucking bizarre. And this movie was made by like I want to say Spielberg.
It was Spielberg. I think he took over for Kubrick, who died while making it.
Kubrick makes more sense because this thing is creeping me out. But so he's at the statue. The world crumbles. The ice age happens, right? Someone starts coming down into the water, into the ice, and cutting through the ice. And it's just like aliens. All of a sudden, it's like legit like alien.
Oh, really?
Aliens, like classic aliens. And they're like
Greys.
They're just like they're kind of like see-through. It's weird. And they're like trying to communicate with him. And they're like, what's the deal? And he explains his story, and he's trying to get to the mom. And basically the aliens say this. They go, listen, and he has something like a lock of her hair, or he has something really tiny, and they go like this: listen, we can give you one more day with your mom by using this, and you can have. I'm gonna cry. And they're basically the blue fairy, and they can make the wish happen, but it's one last day, and then you see their last day, and the credits roll, and it's like fucked up. It's fucked up. It's like. It's so sad, and I think a lot of it hinges on Haley Joel Osment playing a little kid, missing his mom, and it's like, it's killing me right now. It's roughing me up. I feel like the companion.
So Kubrick started a lot of it, and Spielberg finished it, basically.
Dude, you got to watch it because it's so bizarre. But be ready to fucking bawl. It's rough.
I've never seen it.
It's rough. It's disturbing. It's kooky. Anyway, Companion just had some similar elements.
Oh, I think anytime you're dealing with like humanoid robots and AI, you're going to kind of have some crossover.
I agree. I think the bonding scene, though, was like almost identical.
It probably was definitely inspired by that.
Yeah, it was good.
I do love the memories, though. I find it so funny. Like,
that was killer.
Like, I thought it was a really funny joke where, like, so he has two gay friends, right? Mm-hmm. One is Harvey Guillen from What We Do in the Shadows, and then there's like a handsome dude.
Yeah.
And obviously you know the mismatched pair.
Yeah.
And he needs to reset the blonde guy so he can get him to like do his dirty work almost.
Yeah.
So he does it, and he gives him the new memory, and we see the old memory, and it's just replaced with Jack Quaid.
Yeah, basically they have to fall in love with a host. And
Yeah.
so it's the exact same scene, but Jack Quaid is now in place of the original
And it's
guy.
shot exactly the same.
Yeah, the dancing is exactly the same.
Music,
It's great.
You're my little boot thing.
It's so good. But then so it comes to a conclusion where, obviously it kind of leads to the place where she's going to get her comeuppance after you find out about the hard drive thing. And I just was super sad. I love a great story.
It's twisty.
It's twisty. There's great reveals. It's paced correctly. It's a fun time. It's a fun ride. They had a very small budget, and they just fucking rocked it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I really just enjoyed it a lot.
I was very, very pleased with it. I think it's one of those movies you see and you're like, that was really well done.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not as good as Barbarian, but it's like in that path where it's like, I saw something really fucking special and cool.
That's how I feel, too. And it's funny, too, because I thought a little bit about the substance because it was just like a contained story, and it's not as striking and bold, but it is kind of like just a really cool story and a really cool ride, and it was really, really fun. I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah. I'm glad you asked me to see it because, like, again, it was another movie I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a one-word movie that's a horror movie with a low budget that's going to be in theaters for a short amount of time, you can count on Rupert to reach out to me and be
hey,
like,
man, we got to see this while it's
let's go see Barbarian. Let's go see Substance. Let's go see Companion.
It's true.
And I think, did we see Black Phone? That's not one word. It's two.
I did see that. Was that with you?
I don't know. I remember not seeing a trailer for it before the movie theater.
I probably did then.
Because I'm just thinking, like, why would I go see it if I never...
It seems like me, yeah.
I loved Black Phone, too. So
Black Phone was really good.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, though, at the end of the movie, she gains, like, full sentience, and she's, like, on the loose.
Yeah.
And I always think of, like, the repercussions for that world, and I'm like, they have to kill her.
Well, that's the thing. So we already deal with this issue where Rupert revealed to me that whenever we watch a Planet of the Apes movies, he sides with the humans. Like, even if it's a human, and the human is like, he told me if the human had a knife and he was digging into the ape's body and poking it in the eyes and slapping it around, he'd be like, I'm with the human. I don't care. It's a human and I'm a human. I'm
Can
not
I
an ape.
tell you, I was listening to Funbearable because you guys, the episode came out recently where you guys were talking about apes, and I was wondering if you were going to tell Ray, Rupert roots for the apes. I wanted to hear Ray's reaction to that.
I've told him in private, which is probably I haven't. I mean, not like listen, motherfucker, get this. But like I've told him that before, which I think is so insane. Actually, I think we might have brought it up when you were on the show. I think we might have.
Really?
I don't know. I definitely told him. But yeah, so Rupert always roots for the humans because he's a human, he's not an ape. And in this movie, he's like, gotta root for the humans, not the robots. I'm not a robot.
I'm not a robot. I don't want the robot. Look, here's the thing. It's weird because it's like, it doesn't matter what he does to her because she's a robot. It's like he does.
This is how we get there, Rupert. This is how we get to Westworld.
He does other bad things.
Rupert, you're in the first season of Westworld, dragging that girl into the barn. It doesn't matter what I do.
It's a robot. I paid my damn money.
Yeah, exactly.
I got full rats in this robot.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but did you see the video of that influencer? Kai Senate or Senat?
Yeah, I know who that is.
Did you see the video of him and his boys? He has like a $40,000 like servant robot.
No.
That like will pick shit up and move stuff around. Because they're going to be cheaper soon, consumer models. But he has like one, and he had a video of him and his boys, and they were like pushing it and knocking it down, and
is it a human? I mean, like, does it look like a human, or is it like a Boston Dynamics?
It looks just like It looks like, you ever see iRobot?
Oh, that's fucked.
It looks like that, but it's black. And they're knocking it over, and they're like laughing at it, and the thing is trying to get away.
This is fucked.
It's twisted, and I felt so bad watching it.
But that's you! You think that's cool?
No, because I don't think you should do that. I don't think it's a good thing to do that. It was so cruel.
You're trying to distance here.
No, it's so cruel to do that, but it's also like...
This is like at the end of the movie when there's like a racist movie and like the racist turns into a good guy, because we're watching that movie and you're like, fuck her, whatever this guy does to her is fair game. He bought her, he owns her. And then you see an actual video of robot abuse and you're changing your ways.
It's funny because it's like, the robot has no feelings. This is me projecting feelings onto this inanimate object. But if I show you the video, you will like cry from it. I swear to God.
Nuh-uh.
It's like heartbreaking.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm already crying about a robot this episode. I can't cry about it.
Can I tell you something? Do you know Hitchbot?
Yes.
I cried when Hitchbot got destroyed.
Why we both cried about robots all the time?
I felt so bad for Hitchbot. I was like, he just wants to get across the country. Who's he hurting?
If people don't know, Hitchbot was like a little tiny, little rounded robot, and they were like, "This is a test to see if a robot can get across the." What was he doing? Was he hitchhiking?
Yeah. The goal was he got all across Canada.
Okay.
And then the goal was for him to make his way down the East Coast and get back to California and like almost do a loop around North America.
And so what happened?
He got to Philly.
Is that where it was?
Yeah,
I was going to say Philly. I was going to say those scumbags in Philly.
It was Philly.
There's some scumbags in Philly that have been in my
and
life.
He was a helpless robot, completely dependent on the help of others to get from point to point.
Wow.
And in fucking Philly, he was on a corner needing a ride, and this fucking dude came and just stomped him out and killed him.
Much like the fat, dumpy GameStop guy, I think you might be adding in your own little twist to it.
No, he does. He stomps on him and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
You saw a video? Why are you watching these robot abuse videos?
Well, that one I saw years ago. This one was on Twitter. It was trending, the Kai Cenat one.
Did you ever, you know Boston Dynamics, right?
Oh, yeah.
There is a fake Boston Dynamics video where they're like hitting it with bats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a fake one. It's like a parody one, essentially. Wow, why would they do this? That's fucked up.
It's cruel. I'm going to show you the video after, and it's heartbreaking. It's like so helpless as just trying to get away, and they're just like knocking it over, laughing at it.
That is fucked up.
Yeah.
I really will be bothered by that.
Oh, it's just disturbing, man.
Oh, man.
But it's funny because it's like, I understand. It's like, if you were knocking over your vacuum cleaner, why would that bother me?
I don't know if we have the brains to get into discussion about sentience. It's really strange.
You don't think the popcorn kernels are capable of deep scientific thoughts?
The idea of just figuring out when does a robot become a thing that you can't, like, I'll put it this way. I'm going to say it. Brad, my buddy Brad, Funbearable host.
Is a robot?
He's abused a robot in the past.
No. Brad?
A stapler. Used to throw it. You think a stapler?
A stapler? Was it an electronic stapler?
No, it's old school.
Okay.
But like, I don't know if that's a robot. It's a machine.
Yeah.
And so, okay, let's say we think it's okay if he throws the stapler.
Yeah.
But at what point do we stop abusing these robots?
I mean, we're friends with people who have smashed iPads.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, that was brought up on my new show with
Okay.
Walt. Yeah. I couldn't abuse a robot. I will say I went to a flea market this weekend, and I saw a real doll.
Okay, like
sex doll, but they're not robotic.
Yeah, not yet.
They just have skeletons. And I was like, this is so weird. It was in a booth, and they had it like propped up, like modeling something, and I'm like, did they buy this from someone, or was this theirs? Like, what is the deal here? I don't like even the real dolls, which if you don't know, it's essentially a giant.
It looks like a person.
Yeah, it looks like a person. It's a giant fleshlight. You just have sex with it.
Yeah.
And it has like silicone boobs and a vagina and a butt and a mouth. And I'm like, I don't even think I could bang a real doll because I would feel too weird about it. I would just feel guilty.
Could you bang a sex robot?
That's what I'm saying.
Think the actress in the movie is really hot. So it's like I think Sophie Thatcher, like the actress in Companion, is so hot. So it's like, if there's a Sophie Thatcher companion model and it's like available for you, do you think you could bang it? Like,
I want to say, oh man, it's so difficult.
And I'm married. If I get one, is it cheating on my wife?
I think
it's a robot.
Wow, this is a lot for us to tackle.
Yeah.
Let's just simplify this. Let's say in the hypothetical, I'm single.
Yeah.
I feel weird about even banging the real doll. So here's the thing. I would feel worse about banging a robot, but in the movie, she's like trying to seduce you and stuff and trying to bang you.
Well, you program her, right? So I guess you could put how into you she is, and yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like there's something about my guilt that I think would really be a tough hurdle.
Like, what if you're into like sadism? Like you want, like I want to have panel with this robot, like.
Panel. I've never heard anyone say I want to have panel. I've never heard that phrase in my life. But like, I don't know, man. I think it's so tough because it's one of those things where it's like you don't really know until you're confronted.
And it's also like we acknowledge this isn't a real.
Yeah, it's not a human. It's not a human. It's a. Oh wow. This is giving me a lot to think about.
This is why you come to Popcorn Kernels, though.
Mm-hmm.
Companion was a good movie, and it gives you a lot to think about. Like, would I bang a sex robot?
Yeah.
Is it bad if I burn one?
Yeah, exactly. And jury's still out. I'll put it this way. I'll take a hard stance. I wouldn't frame one for murder.
I'll agree. I would not frame one for murder. I think I could agree on that.
Beyond that,
potentially.
Who knows? Yeah, exactly.
Depends on circumstances. You know, I rethought it.
Already going back on it.
Now let me ask you: wouldn't you just replace your military with robots?
Yeah, of course. That's the
right.
thing. I mean, are we in the process of that? Drones?
We have drones, yeah, but there's people operating them. I'm talking like boots on the ground, like robo soldiers, like in this companion world where they're that advanced.
Well, what I was thinking is like drones, though, like the people controlling them are like safe somewhere.
Yeah, they're in like a bunker.
Yeah, so that's essentially what the future is going to be. We're not going to have like Will Smith iRobot robots running and doing like hand-to-hand combat.
You may, because you're still going to need to
so
clear people out and crowd control things like that.
Yeah, maybe. Oh my God, I hate this robot that was abused in your Twitter video.
I can't wait until we're done rolling. I'm going to show it to you.
I feel like I'm going to throw up.
You should put it up on here, but people will fucking weep watching this.
Oh my God, it's disgusting to me. But, I mean, it is his robot. I don't know what to think about this.
Yeah, it's but like, couldn't you say years ago when someone was raping their slave? Well, it's their slave.
Oh my.
So it's like fucking.
That's a little. I don't know. This is rough.
We're gonna need robo rights.
I think that. I don't want to get into it. I think that it's. I don't even know how to approach robot. As soon as a robot can express that it's sad,
then we're probably all dead.
I think I don't want to be part of the whole thing. I don't even want to have it as like a butler.
Oh, you don't want one?
I don't know. Not if it's going to be sad sometimes.
I've heard it's going to be like consumer available within like 3 to 10 years, somewhere in that, where you're going to have a robot in your house like that you could have do shit.
I mean, if it's just like let's say it looks like a big trash can and it goes around your house and it has arms and it does stuff.
No, it looks like it has like a body and hands and stuff, and it can cook and clean up for you.
I don't know.
I'll tell you. I fucking want one so bad.
Really?
I'm gonna have the cleanest house.
What if it starts to strangle you in the night?
There's worse ways to go.
I think I don't know if there is. You're certain robot strangling you to death in the dark. That sounds like the worst way. Are you kidding me? What are you? And guess what? They couldn't pry his hands off you, so he's in the casket with you.
Oh, like for all time.
Yeah, like other people are at your funeral and they want to take a selfie with you and they haven't.
I'm already dead. At least I don't got to work in the morning.
Your face is
bug eyes.
Your hands are on his hands. It's crazy. It's a scene.
Well, at my funeral, just say it's how he would have wanted to go.
It's ghastly, man. Oh God, I hate it. Wow. Well, we'd solved it.
That's it. That's what the popcorn kernels do.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad we talked about these movies.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'm glad we did another popcorn kernels. It's been a little bit.
I love doing popcorn kernels.
Me too. We were going to do a Christmas episode. We couldn't quite get to it, but maybe next year. Next year we'll do one. And I think more are to come very soon.
Yeah, I think so. We're coming to the season.
Yes, yes, I love it. That was great. But all right, buddy. Well, it's all you. You're the one who made plans to see the monkey with me. You asked me to go see Hard Eyes and Companion. It's Rupert who's making these things happen. I love it. I appreciate it.
But this is going to be on the This is going to be on the Funbearable feed, right?
Yes, I think so.
So, guys, check out Reviewing History. That's my podcast. We go through historical movies. We tell you what's real and fake in them as we make dick and fart jokes. If you don't want to watch a movie, there's pick episodes where it's very loose and fun. Patreon.com/reviewing history. All sorts of bonus content out there. Check it out. Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, all that stuff. And Popcorn Kernels shows up there too.
Exactly. If you like Popcorn Kernels, half of them are here in the Funbearable feed, and half of them are over there in the Reviewing History feed. So if you've watched a couple over here and you didn't realize it, go over to the Reviewing History feed, subscribe, check out the Popcorn Kernel episodes that have been on over there. What is this, episode 5?
I think so. I think we did a double on Reviewing History for some reason.
Yeah, we did. It was because we had
you had like a whole bunch of double drops and stuff. Right?
We had the TESD takeover month, and you were already on 2 episodes, and we dropped a total of 9 episodes in that month. I think it was something crazy. Maybe not 9, but it was at least 7. We dropped 7, and we already had it. So yeah, we put 2 on there in a row. But yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff over on Reviewing History. Check them out. Look them up on any podcast app or on YouTube. And more Popcorn Kernels to come, buddy.
Yep. Dismissed.
I just keep thinking about that robot choking you to death.